Tonight, the King 5 investigators reveal in the last year, federal investigators have handed out violations to Washington state nursing facilities at twice the rate of the national average. As Kristen Goodwill reports, one King County family says they are paying the price. Their loved one's life is forever changed after a stay at a nursing home in Federal Way.
A year and a half ago, Annie Jenkins had mild dementia, but she could walk, take the bus independently, and remember her family. Today, she can't get out of bed without someone's help. Even when Annie has a minor medical issue, her family has to call professionals. Last month, we pulled up to her house to work on this story right as an ambulance arrived to transport her to the hospital.
Her whole 70-something years of life, she's been able to get around on her own and be dependent on herself, to now completely dependent on someone else.
In late 2023, Annie tripped and fell at home. Her sister and niece put her in Hallmark Manor in Federal Way to heal from the ankle surgery.
24-hour medical facility that specialized in physical therapy, wound care therapy, dementia.
Still at Hallmark Manor in the spring of last year, legal documents say Annie's ankle bandages were discolored and giving off a putrid smell. When Gloria, her sister, asked a nurse to change Annie's bandage, what she saw horrified her. Here are the pictures. We blurred them because of their graphic nature.
And when they took that bandage off, I just probably went into shock myself.
Legal documents say despite offering a prompt examination of Annie's leg wound, she wasn't sent to the hospital until the next day. Only after Gloria says she threatened to call 911. In an email, Hallmark Manor said it does not comment on current litigation, and residents are their #1 priority.
What ended up happening to her ankle?
Well, it healed, and then they let her get gangrene, they cut it off. They made her worse.
100%.
They just destroyed her life, the rest of her life that she had left.
The state agrees that Hallmark Manor failed Annie. It investigated Gloria's neglect complaint and found the facility failed to provide necessary treatment, that this injury was avoidable. It wasn't an isolated incident. Federal Medicare data reveals in the last year or so, Hallmark Manor racked up 23 citations, 2.5 times the national average. Violations include failing to provide dementia patients with appropriate treatment and services and failing to provide care with dignity.
This is not a problem or occurrence that is unique to this one care facility at this one point in time.
Hallmark Manor's issues reflect a statewide problem. Washington nursing homes receive nearly twice as many health and safety violations compared to facilities nationwide. In the last 3 years, 94% of the citations handed out in the state were for what they call low-level violations.
They didn't do the right thing.
Toby Edelman with the nonprofit The Center for Medicare Advocacy in Washington, D.C. says that's a problem, that more important than the quantity of citations is the severity of them.
I would say that many of those deficiencies should be cited at considerably higher levels than they are, that they are much more serious problems than this no harm level would suggest. We need to have some consequence for not complying with the law.
The state says it doesn't have an answer as to why more deficiencies are found in Washington nursing homes or why the deficiencies that are handed out are mostly for low-level violations. Here's Miriam Mina with DSHS.
We may have higher citations than other states, but we're really just focused on the work that we do here.
Where are you guys going, to St. Francis?
After all that happened to Annie and her family, the state handed out what the family says was inadequate. Hallmark Manor received a citation saying they have to submit a plan of correction and pay a fine, $1,000.
Because they're a company or a business, it just seems like, okay, we'll give you a slap on the wrist and a pass. How many passes have they gotten? Because obviously this isn't the first one.
Would you say that nursing homes in Washington are being held accountable?
I would say yes. Part of our role is to ensure that they are in compliance with following federal and state regulations.
What's terrifying for the community should be all of the individuals that are in these types of facilities that don't have advocates or voices. That's terrifying. and it should be.
Attorney Nick Andrews represents Annie and her family in a lawsuit filed late last year against Hallmark Manor.
Hopefully with this lawsuit, we can effectuate some change so there is accountability, because it's not coming from the state at this point that we can see.
He says what happened to Annie was criminal, and there needs to be more accountability.
You want some more water? And I think they should all go to jail, to be honest. Someone needs to answer for this. Someone needs to be prosecuted for this.
Hallmark Manor sent me a statement that also said, "We take great pride in the services we provide our community, and our commitment to the safety of our residents and their families has never been higher." Now, I did check in with Annie's family about 10 minutes ago. They tell me that all things considered, she's doing fine, and they're adamant, saying that she's just so much better now that she's home, but still tough road.
But thankfully she's home now. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can see a lot more from the King 5 investigators in their monthly spotlight. It is streaming right now. You can download the King 5 Plus app and watch on your television for free.